That 4 children may be alive after a small plane crash 17 days ago.
It's an incredible story of survival.
For more than a month in the Colombian Amazon rainforest.
4 children who went missing after a plane crash over a rainforest last month have been found alive.
An extraordinary tale of human spirit, resilience, and survival that unfolds in the vast expanse of Colombia's unforgiving Amazon rainforest. Picture 4 children, ages 13, 9, 5, and 1. Alone and vulnerable, these children found themselves in the middle of this vast wilderness. After an astonishing 40 days, they emerged from the forest's depths, survivors of an ordeal that has few parallels. The rainforest, a spectacle of nature's majesty, a riot of green that stretches beyond the horizon. Towering trees, ancient and formidable, reach for the sky, their dense foliage forming an impenetrable canopy, a veil that dims the harsh sunlight into an eerie twilight. Yet, the seemingly tranquil environment is a deceptive façade. This is a world where danger lurks in every shadow, behind every leaf. Jaguars, the apex predators of this terrain, prowl stealthily, their silent steps barely disturbing the forest floor. Venomous snakes, cloaked by the undergrowth, lie in wait for the unwary. The children's survival wasn't merely a testament to their resilience against the relentless forces of nature. They also faced an insidious human threat. Drug smuggling groups, notorious for their ruthlessness, lurk within this vast jungle. Their presence is a reminder that danger isn't confined to wild animals, but also our own species. Yet, in the face of these overwhelming adversities, a story of survival unfolded that wasn't just miraculous, but an incredible triumph of spirit. The children weren't merely lost, they were thrust into a crucible, a test of survival that required them to adapt, to learn, and to fight. As we delve deeper into this narrative, we find that it's more than a story of survival. It is an account of heritage, of the indomitable spirit passed down through generations, of the inherent instinct to survive. They have carved an unforgettable chapter in human history, a tale that is bound to leave an incredible mark on our collective consciousness. Let's take a journey back in time, to the morning of May 1st of 2023. An ominous day unbeknownst to the passengers of a small aircraft that was about to take off into the endless blue skies of Colombia. This was a Cessna 206, a light aircraft known for its reliability and efficiency. Like a metallic bird, it stood gleaming under the early morning sun at the Ararauca airport, prepped for a domestic charter flight to San Jose del Guaviare, a stretch 220 miles northward. Inside the aircraft, a palpable sense of anticipation was in the air. The passengers included Magdalena Mucutuy Valencia, a mother, and her 4 beautiful children. Their ages spanned from an infant of just 11 months to a teenager of 13 years, and they were accompanied by a local indigenous leader, Herman Mendoza Hernandez. At the helm was a seasoned pilot, Hernando Murcia Morales. Little did they know that this journey would imprint their names in the entrails of survival history. These weren't just ordinary passengers. The family was part of the Witoto, an indigenous group deeply woven into the fabric of the jungle environment. From an early age, The Witoto are instilled with the profound wisdom of their ancestors, learning to navigate the dense, tangled weave of the rainforest to hunt, fish, and gather. Skills essential for survival in the wilderness. The bond among them, strengthened by their shared heritage, was unbreakable, even in the constrained space of the aircraft's cabin. Their laughter echoed, their chatter filled the air, painting a picture of innocence, joy, and familial warmth, oblivious to the impending disaster. "7:34 a.m. As the morning sunlight glistened off the Cessna's wings, it took flight. But this would be no ordinary journey. Just after the takeoff, the silence of the skies was shattered by the pilot's distress call. The engine, the heart of the aircraft, had faltered. Panic ensued as the bird of metal, now silenced, began plummeting to the earth. Meanwhile, back at the control tower, the distress call echoed, bringing an abrupt chill to its recipients. A rescue operation was launched immediately. The aircraft crashed into the dense heart of the Caquetá Department jungle. A haunting silence descended on the wreckage of the Cessna 206. The crash site, once a serene clearing in the flora and fauna of the jungle, was now a grotesque scene of twisted metal. The air was dense with the smell of burnt fuel and steel, an alien scent to the otherwise earthly palate of the jungle. The catastrophic impact immediately claimed the lives of the pilot and Mendoza. Amidst the smoking wreckage and confusion, it was Leslie, the 13-year-old, who spotted the tiny foot of the youngest, 11-month-old Kristen. Leslie's instincts kicked in, and she pulled Kristen from the wreckage, the first of many acts of protective valor. By her side standing were her two other siblings. Then, struggling amidst wreckage, was Magdalena. The mother fought the grim clutches of death despite her grave injuries. Her instinct to protect her children was at the forefront. She helped in the many ways that her broken body would allow her to. The children stood by her side, but time would eventually take its toll. 4 days later, and moments before her death, summoning her remaining strength, Magdalena gave a desperate command to her children: leave and get help. Her voice was weak, yet resonant with a primal instinct to ensure the survival of her children. Her words, though simple, carried a depth of meaning and urgency that the children couldn't ignore. It was the mother's final plea, and thus the children, with their hearts heavy, with sorrow and eyes blurred by tears, embarked on their daunting journey. The children had to dig deep into their Witoto heritage, using their ancestral wisdom of survival to navigate the dense wilderness, to sustain themselves, and to cling to life for the next 36 days. Although their mother had passed, the kids felt her presence watching over, fortifying their resolve. 4 pairs of eyes, wide with shock and fear, watched their world crumble around them. The eldest, barely into adolescence, found their world upended. Their childhood forcibly ripped from their grasp. The youngest, just an infant, a mere spectator of the Odyssey. The plane had carried some supplies, and now they formed a vital link between the children and life. Yet, even these finite resources dwindled with time, and the children had to adapt. Drawing on the lore of the forest, they turned to the wilderness around them. Leaving behind the tragic remnants of the crash, they began their struggle against the unforgiving heart of the jungle. Their hands dug into the remains of their provisions, salvaging precious flour, a meager sustenance against the looming specter of hunger. Nature, while an adversary, offered reluctant aid in the form of bacaba palm trees and avichuda trees. The fruits and seeds from these became their lifeline. Their world, once filled with the comfortable hum of civilization, was now replaced with the eerie whispers of the wilderness, the rustling of the leaves, the distant cries of unseen creatures, a constant reminder of their situation. Each day brought new challenges, new fears, but also new hope. Their survival was a testament to the spirit of resilience, to the will to live, and to the profound wisdom of their people. The vast Colombian rainforest, over a total of 40 grueling days and nights, its undergrowth was their shelter, its wild fruits their sustenance, and its whispering winds their only companionship. The jungle was in harvest, some days raining for 16 hours straight, meaning that fruit was bountiful and water could be collected and rationed. This fortunate timing certainly played a part in their survival, allowing them to utilize the rich natural resources the jungle offered. In the middle of the hardship, it was perhaps a tender sign of the universe lending them a helping hand. A desperate symphony echoed Colombian and all international media outlets. The chorus of hopes and prayers spun into every broadcast message. The vast search team of 150 military personnel, local rescuers, and 200 indigenous volunteers methodically combed through the jungle's dense underbelly. The wreckage of the Cessna was unearthed 2 weeks post the crash on May 15th with the help of a canine. Through the eyes of the rescue team, among the scattered remains and twisted metal, hope arose in the form of a child's drinking bottle, signs of a makeshift shelter, and a tiny footprint. Speakers loudly resonated through the forest, playing pre-recorded messages in the Witoto language, promising rescue to the children, urging them to stay stationary for their detection. Parallel to the human endeavor, a canine narrative was being written. The instrumental force in locating the wreckage was a 5-year-old Belgian shepherd named Wilson, whose unfaltering dedication carried him ahead, his nose glued to the terrain, tirelessly seeking signs of life. Once the Cessna's remains were found, a unique tactic was deployed. Wilson was presented with a mesh of scents derived from the clothes and possessions of the children. The aim was for the dog to pick up on this scent in hopes it would lead the rescuers to the children. Then, in a twist, Wilson sniffed out a potential trail, disappearing alone into the green labyrinth to pursue it. His determined pursuit of the scent, while heroic, led to his own disappearance from the rescue team. His absence echoed in the heart of Edgar Fontecha, his trainer. On June 10th of 2023, 40 days after the tragedy, the arduous efforts bore fruit as the 4 children were found. They were fragile, malnourished, their bodies marked by insect bites, but they were alive. Their survival was declared a historic testament by President Gustavo Petro. In the wake of their rescue, the children recounted their harrowing ordeal and spoke of an unlikely companion, Wilson. Their accounts suggested that the dog had been with them, aiding and protecting them until his sudden departure. One of the children, in a touching gesture, even drew the dog while recuperating in the hospital. While the children were airlifted to Bogota for medical care, the search and rescue operation, dubbed Operation Hope, morphed into a mission to find Wilson. An array of measures was taken to entice Wilson's return, from strategically placing food to laying out his handler's clothes, hoping to guide him back with familiar scents. Days have stretched into weeks since Wilson's vanishing, the vanishing of a hero, a symbol of resilience and a friend. Manuel Ranoque, father to the two youngest survivors, Soleini and Tien, painted a chilling image of their pre-crash life in southern Colombia. A shadow had fallen over their homeland as an armed group, notorious for child recruitment through violent threats, seized control. The specter of their children being snatched away loomed ominously over the family, prompting a desperate bid for their safety. In the quiet wake of the tragic airplane crash and the ensuing ordeal of survival, the heroic tale of the four siblings stands as a pillar of strength and the boundless resilience of childhood. Leslie, age 13, Soleini, 9, Tien, 5, and Kirsten, who turned 1-year-old during the time in the jungle, found themselves caught in a nightmarish intersection of human conflict and environmental adversity, a situation far removed from any child's understanding. Yet, they did not merely endure, they survived and thrived, leveraging their ancestral knowledge, innate ingenuity, and the love they had for each other. Their odyssey began with a devastating crash in the vast untamed wilderness of the Amazon, a crash that claimed the lives of their mother, their pilot, and a local leader. Amidst the shock and trauma of their loss, these children, all under the age of 14, embarked on a grueling quest guided by the haunting yet inspiring words of their dying mother. A canine hero, Wilson, trained by the Colombian army, echoed the children's will for survival. He became the unseen guardian, and although Wilson himself remains lost in the wilderness, his legacy lives on in the lives he helped save. However, their tale is not solely of struggle and strife. It's a story that has unified the beautiful nation of Colombia across political divides. It has sparked awe and inspired hope. It's a reminder that even in the darkest corners of human experience, rays of resilience, courage, and unity can shine through. In reflecting upon this narrative, we are reminded of the porcelain-like fragility of life and the enduring strength of the human spirit. These children, in their courageous survival and unyielding resolve, inspire us all. The echoes of their story continue to roar perpetually in the jungle and our hearts, reminding us all of the strength that lies within each of us, a strength that is only amplified by the bonds of family and love.